Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels, the gardening podcast with me, Martin, Jill, Sean, and our special guest. We've got Marley the dog with us today.
You say woof woof?
He's the guard dog, head of security.
He's not talking today. He's very quiet.
Happy. He's happy.
Yes,
very
yes.
happy,
Well, he's listening to all the good things we've got to say. So, coming up in this episode, we've got loads. Very much an edible theme. I'm going to be catching up with a chap that I met 30 years ago, and I don't think we've changed at all in those 30
Not
years.
at all.
He is the king of giant veg. He's got lots of world records, and he got some more world records at the recent Malvern Autumn Flower Show. So we're going to have a good chat with Joe.
Yep, and we need to say thank you to our sponsors, Plant Grow, who are based in Norfolk, and they turn the waste from making green electricity into a range of lovely things for our garden. So lots of composts and topsoils, mulch, and plant food.
And we've got a recipe coming up, marrow and ginger jam. That's coming up a bit later in the episode.
Delicious.
And just sticking with the kind of vegetable theme, we've got some jobs if you want to grow your own, and also loads of information about bulbs on this episode. So stick with us. We've got a question about bulbs. We've also got some jobs to do in the garden about bulbs. So bulbs, bulbs, bulbs.
Yeah, but we'll start by catching up with Joe and finding out a little bit about growing giant veg. Well, I'm at the Malvern Autumn Flower Show at the moment in the Giant Vegetable Pavilion. It is a building packed full of the most amazing vegetables that are being grown here. And it's all about the biggest here. That's what it is, the heaviest and the biggest. And the person that probably knows more about these vegetables and has grown them for many, many years is Joe Atherton from Mansfield Woodhouse in Nottinghamshire. And we've known each other for a fair few years. Joe, hello, first of all.
Hello,
And how are you?
I'm fine.
So,
Fine.
how long have we known each other now? I've been trying to reminisce.
Too long.
It's got to be about 30 years.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners how we met, because you've not changed at all, you know.
Oh, thank you. No, he presented me with a trophy at Clips and Leak Show when I won so many years ago.
I think it's about 30 years ago. It's got to be. I've got the newspaper clipping somewhere. And you know, since then, you've obviously gone into the giant veg, because they were pot leeks, weren't they, you were growing then? And you know, have you always grown pot leeks? Because although I'm saying you're from Nottinghamshire, it's not a Nottinghamshire accent.
No, I was originally born not far from Whitley Bay on the northeast coast. My dad used to grow pot leeks and, well, you just followed suit.
And pot leeks were big in the northeast, weren't they? And do you think the reason they moved down to Nottinghamshire was because lots of people from the northeast moved down to work in the pits, the coal mines?
Yeah, definitely, because I say there were some villages in Nottinghamshire that set up what they call a pot leek show.
And you were a winner?
I tried my best.
Yes. So you've retired from work now, but I would imagine you're sort of more or less full-time growing your veg, aren't you?
24/7, 365 days a year. If you're not growing it, you're thinking about it.
Yeah, and you're just, you know, your wife support you in all of that?
Yeah, she's got to. Speak of the devil.
Oh, here she is now.
She has to.
We're just having a chat with Joe about how marvellous you are and you support him in his veg growing.
Always. While he's happy, I'm happy.
Yes.
And the family's happy, eh, Joe?
Yeah. So where do you grow it all?
On the garden.
So you've got the garden at home, it's not an allotment?
No, I've got a big garden. If you've got facilities at home, it's a good start for you.
Okay. So we started off with the pot leeks, which is how I met you. The giant veg, what is the attraction about growing giant veg? I mean, you're not just bothered about growing a little radish to have in a salad. You want a great big giant one. What is it? Is it just the challenge?
But yeah, I mean, how often do you see it? You'll get people that'll come into this show today and the eyes just pop out and all you hear is wow.
Yeah.
You don't see that with NVS.
No, because they're after perfection, you're after the weight. And can you eat any of these giant veg?
Yeah, you can eat some of them. I mean, I pulled a carrot up other day that didn't make it, but it made the dinner.
Yeah?
We had it
Yeah.
for dinner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite nice, actually.
Right.
And it tastes, in fact, it tastes better, really, don't it? Well, lovely.
So it doesn't go to waste. It is.
Oh, no.
So, okay. So
Tomatoes,
What?
all tomatoes. We either fry them or boys may come into tomato soup and all sorts, don't they?
What we don't eat I actually give to a friend for his pigs.
Right.
So there's nothing, not even the leaves get wasted.
Okay. And when you're growing this, you're not just buying an ordinary packet of beetroot or an ordinary packet of cabbage. You have got special strains of the seed, haven't you, for this?
Yeah, but some of the strains you can buy from
Radish.
different seed companies. But like so the onions and beetroot and things like that, you can keep your own seed.
Right, oh, I see. So you develop your strain. So if
Yeah.
you've got a record breaker and it's a big one, you'll let it flower, produce the
Yeah.
seed, and then you've got that for yourself.
Yeah.
So you've got quite a lot entered here, haven't you? I don't know how many entries you've got in.
I think I've got 19 entries. I've gotten 15 cards, which is places, and 9 of them are firsts.
Okay. So we're going to take a little break, and then can we go and have a look at it and you can tell us all about it?
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
So still to come, I'm going to share my recipe for marrow and ginger jam. Delicious. Very, very sticky. But I just want to ask you something. When you were chatting to Joe, you talked about pot leaks.
Yes, I wonder what they are.
Yeah. And what's different? What's the difference between a leak and a pot leak?
Is it a leak in a pot? Or is it...
Well, I don't know how it got the name originally, whether they were grown in pots, but they look very different because we grow the sort of traditional leeks that can be quite long and slender.
In the ground.
In the ground. Pot leeks can be grown in the ground, but whether they were grown in pots, but they are really short and dumpy. And the way they judge them is they measure from the bottom of the leek plant to what they call the button, and the button is where the leaves start to develop. And that can't be any more than 6 inches, 15 centimetres. I'm doing this from memory, so if I'm wrong, no doubt somebody will let me know. And then they measure the circumference around it and they work out the cubic capacity of it. So that they're not weighed, it's cubic capacity. And they can be really, really sort of short and really dumpy.
It's about the girth then.
It's the girth, essentially, yeah.
So do
It's
they
the
grow
girth.
those in the ground?
Yes, they grow them in the ground, but whether they were originally grown in pots or whether they were grown for the pot to
Was
eat,
it like pot-bellied, as in... pot-
maybe
yeah.
I don't know. Joe would know because that's when I first met Joe 30 years ago. I found a photograph which will probably, if you're watching on YouTube, will come up as an old black and white photograph of me and a friend of mine, John Sterling, who Sean used to work with as well when we were on the radio and television, presenting Joe with his award for the pot leek winner at the Clipston pot leek show back in 1995. And if you look at it, I don't think we've changed at all.
Is that the black and white thing? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes.
There was a long silence
Yeah,
then,
there was.
wasn't there?
So moving swiftly on.
Moving on. Well, one thing Joe mentioned, NVS. What's NVS?
Good, yeah. MVS is the National Vegetable Society, so it's in the UK, and it is a sort of the umbrella society for all the different. There's like a Yorkshire Vegetable Society,
growers or-
yeah. But they're all the allotments and growers, and a lot of them just grow for their own use, but a lot of them then grow to show at shows.
And they are about perfection. So
They
it
are.
is the perfect carrot.
Yes.
Whereas the giant veg, the more
yeah.
nobbles, the better. Really.
Yes, anything that helps it be heavier.
Yeah,
It's fine.
exactly.
Yeah, it is. That's right. If you're exhibiting 3 carrots, they've all got to be perfect and identical.
It's like the crufts of vegetables.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Yeah.
more exhibition veg rather than the biggest and the heaviest. Yeah.
Mm.
So yes. So yeah, and it is amazing, is Joe. I mean, he's retired from work. He was a coal miner, as he mentioned, and with the help of his wife Carmel, who does a lot of the cleaning for him and preparation. They're very much a team, and he's done tremendously well. He is one of the big names in the giant veg world, is Joe.
He's
So,
got
yeah.
records, hasn't he? And then we're going to hear a bit more about that later.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're going to go back to him.
Shall we do some listeners' questions then?
Yeah.
Just before we do, if you've got a listener's question, assuming you're a listener or a viewer, then drop us an email, info@potsandtrowels.com, and tell us where you are in the world. That really helps us. And obviously, if you want to go to our website, potsandtrowels.com, it's got links to all of the episodes
Yeah.
and podcast episodes and ways to get in touch and all that sort of business. But anyway, enough blatant, grovelling. No, grovelling?
no, not
What
grovelling,
we're doing,
just
blowing
doing-
my own horn, blowing our horn.
Information to our listeners and
Yes.
viewers. I ought to just say, we're asking you where you are. We're actually sitting in
Mm.
Lincolnshire at the moment, so we are at Pots and Trowels HQ,
yes.
in northern Lincolnshire, which is on the sort of east side of England, if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
But the reason I needed to qualify that was because not everybody knows where Lincolnshire is. It's not long ago I was at a meeting in London for an organisation I'm involved with, and somebody asked me where I lived, and I said Lincolnshire, and they said, "Where's Lincolnshire?"
No, really.
So I just felt I needed to qualify where
That's
we
fair
are.
enough. Yeah, I will put a map up for those of you on YouTube showing where Lincolnshire and roughly where Pots and Trowels HQ is. For those interested.
Okay.
And interestingly, to me anyway, and I shared this with you guys. Recently, somebody shared a map of rainfall in the UK.
Yes.
And they'd created it so it had higher mountains where there was more rain, and just seeing the difference between the east and the west side of the UK is really, really kind of stark.
Absolutely. Well, that interestingly came up in a meeting I was at a week or so ago about climate change and gardening, how it's affecting gardens. And it was very much talked about a north-south divide in the UK. But one of the members on this meeting said, but it's also very much an east-west divide. He lives in south-east Scotland, and we always think Scotland is cold and wet, but they have a really, really low rainfall, to about 25 inches, so less than, I don't know what that is, about 600 millimeters a year. So all down the east side of England tends to be much drier. The west is tremendously wet, isn't
very
it?
wet, very wet indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, we need to get into questions because
Yes.
we could chat about weather because we're Brits.
Yeah,
we could
always
all day
do.
long. Somebody on YouTube's asked, does heather need ericaceous compost?
Good question. And this is a result of me potting some, I think, in an autumn winter container. Lots of heathers do. I mean, they naturally grow up on the moors in England, on the peat moors, so they need that acidic. But there's quite a lot that will tolerate neutral or a little bit of alkaline in them, so they'll grow in most garden soils. Things like the Erica carnea and Erica darliensis, which tend to be the winter flowering ones, they're absolutely fine in ordinary garden soil. And if you're using them in a pot, even if they're the ones that need acid, if you actually leave them in the plant pot and plunge it into the compost you're using, they'll be fine for a sort of a seasonal display anyway.
Okay. And you got any questions there?
I
Jill?
haven't got questions. I've got some lovely feedback.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but didn't we have another one asking about?
Yes, no, we've got another one asking about. Well, they were talking about lavender cuttings and rosemary cuttings.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And we're just saying that they like to propagate these and want to fill their garden with both rosemary and lavender, but they found lavender more difficult to take cuttings or get the cuttings to kind of take.
I think that's fair. They do take longer. I do find rosemary roots much easier. In fact, sometimes on the table where we're chatting from, we have some little jars that we cut flowers in, and very often I put little sprigs of rosemary in there just to get a bit of foliage. And because the foliage lasts for ages, and very often it will actually start to root in the jar of water. Lavender doesn't do that; it would rot off. So it does take longer. You've just got to persevere with it, keep it moist but not overly wet, otherwise it rots off. And if you can give it at this time of the year, because there's still time to take them, if you can give it a little bit of base heat in a little propagator or soil warming bench, that will really help to promote root growth.
There's a video, isn't there, where you're taking some lavender cuttings?
Is there? Oh,
yes, not that long ago. How are they doing?
They're looking good though. I actually checked them this morning. They're in the propagator in the greenhouse. They look fresh. I haven't actually pulled any out, but they're
That's so tempting, though, isn't it?
if they weren't doing very well, they'd wither away.
Yeah.
So
Well, you did one about rose cuttings quite a few weeks ago,
Yes.
and I went and tried it, so I'm going to see how mine are doing.
well, ours
this
are
spring.
rooted. They're all growing now.
Right,
so yeah.
okay.
So yours, they'll root, Sean.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Okay, last question before we get on to some of the comments we've been getting recently. So Jan in Nottingham, question for Martin. When you plant spring flowering bulbs in pots, should they be watered at any point?
That's a very good question, Jan, that is, because if you plant them in the garden, at this time of the year, to flower in the spring, we don't usually water them because we get enough rain to keep the soil moist. But if you're doing them in a pot, especially if you're mixing them in with other plants, so if you've got some lovely evergreens or something in there, then what that can do is almost act like an umbrella and the compost can dry out. So or if you're planting them on their own, if you're doing like a lasagna pot, as we've done before, where you do the different layers, I would say initially give them a drink. So pot them in the compost, get the watering can with a rose on, give them a drink and let it dry down. The secret with bulbs is they don't like to be wet. So you probably wouldn't need to water them again until you felt the compost was drying out. But that initial watering or just moisten the compost around the bulbs and make sure that the roots grow. So you occasionally do need to water, but check before you do that they need it.
And one thing I noticed you've said in the past about checking the dampness of the pot is the weight of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I know it might be difficult with a very large pot, but generally speaking, if it's a pot you can lift up, then you can gauge whether it's...
Yeah, you can. You get to know when it's heavy, it's got moisture, if it's very light. And, just dig down with your finger a few inches. And if it's still nice and moist a few inches down, then don't give them any water. And that's also why it's important that when we plant bulbs in pots, the pot has got good drainage so that they can't fill it with water over the winter.
Yes,
Okay.
fabulous.
Good question.
Right,
Yes.
Can we be a bit self-indulgent for a couple of minutes? Because we've had some lovely feedback.
I find that really hard to do.
Some lovely feedback on the podcasts that we've been doing. Especially from Jim and his wife, and Jim is in Concord, Massachusetts. So hi, Jim. Good to hear from you. A couple of weeks ago, we did quite a long podcast, and actually said, forgive us if it goes on a little bit, but we sometimes we just have too much to talk about, don't we? But Jim says. We love listening to the podcasts and look forward to them. Last year, several of the podcasts expanded to 50 minutes or more. Oops. But they thoroughly enjoyed them. So we'll definitely
That's before
vote.
I got my stopwatch.
Yeah,
That was
definitely vote for making them as long as you can bear to. Jim loves the natural, easy style of the show, non-performance. So we don't rehearse this at all, do we? And the friendly way you have of helping, educating and informing your viewers. We often feel as if we're in the garden with friends when the three of you sit round the table and invite us to listen. We hope you continue for many years. They especially mentioned the podcast that we did with George and Carol from the Beech Grove Garden, and love that. So hope that we can invite them on again, which we will definitely try to. But Judy...
And I think Jim also mentions they watch Beech Grove every week, don't they?
Yes.
When it's on the television. So,
Yes.
And I have passed that information, Jim, on to Carol to pass it on to George. I emailed and I sent her a copy of your email and she came back and was delighted and said, thank you very much.
That was about
Lovely.
3 weeks ago if you missed that podcast
Yeah.
episode, episode 2.
Well, Judy Cook from Flaxby was also really pleased to hear from Carol, particularly on the Beech Grove Garden. I'm sure you like George just as much, Judy. But she says she's a regular viewer of Beech Grove, which is, in her view, the best gardening programme on TV. But she's missed Carol quite a lot this year. She doesn't think she's been on quite as often. She's so quietly informative and genuine. She hopes she's more involved with the programme next year.
Yeah.
But then she says, keep up the good work with the podcast.
Thank you. Yes, I don't think Carol does as much because they now have quite a few more presenters than they used to have. I think they've expanded the
Sort of cycle it through
presenters,
to
got
them,
some
yeah.
sort of different younger presenters, so they cycle through them exactly. But yes, they're lovely, and we will get them back on. And thank you for saying it's the best one. I hope Pots and Trowels ranks in there somewhere
Well,
as a
we're
good.
not on
Well, that's not
We're
for
not
a
TV, but we're
programme.
YouTube. That's
Yeah.
the new.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
apparently nowadays, I'm told lots of people watch more programs on YouTube than they do actually on terrestrial television nowadays.
Yeah, our son doesn't have a
Doesn't watch
connection,
any-
does he? Doesn't
no.
watch any telly. It's all YouTube.
Yeah.
So
Thank you anyway for lovely comments.
Yes,
Please send as many in as you want. Yes. And any suggestions for any videos or content on the podcast, we do read everything that we get. Genuinely we do.
Definitely. And if you want to get in touch, drop us an email, info@potsandtrowels.com, or just go to the website, potsandtrowels.com. That's and A-N-D, not and with one of
Okay.
those funny things. But yeah, I'm sure you'll find it.
Jolly good.
Shall we go and hear a bit more about these gigantic
Yeah,
vegetables?
let's have a look at some of them as well.
With all the veg now, Joe, and you've got some world records, and over the years you've broken lots and lots of world records.
Yeah, with this one this year, I've had 21 world records and I still hold 6 of them.
Wow, so that's quite an achievement to do that, and I know you're always striving to beat yours. I mean, we're just standing by potatoes at the minute. You've got first in the heaviest potato, so just tell me a little bit about the way to that, because that's going to get a lot of chips out of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it's 2.28 kilo, I think it is, which is near enough £5.
And 1 potato. So you would get a lot. And I know we were talking earlier about eating them. I mean, obviously things like that, they're perfectly fine to eat, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had some other day.
Yeah.
The ones that don't make it.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Don't waste them. So the world record you've broken is on the bench behind us, and that is for a radish. Now, I think of a radish as being about 2-3 inches long, what's that, 5 to 7.5 centimetres. You go for the longest. How long is your long one?
The new record stands at 7.848 metres.
7.48 metres. So what's that?
7.848.
So that's what, getting on for 23, 24 feet.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, in old money, isn't it? So how on earth do you grow that? I mean, to get because that is the root and it peters out to just almost a piece of cotton in the end. But how do you get one so long?
Well, I grow them in guttering. I grow one guttering on the bottom and one on the top. And the top one has got a 10-inch slit every so often so I can water from the top down.
So you literally just plant your radish in the top and you encourage that root to grow down 7 odd metres.
Yeah.
And you've no idea until you take it out how long it's going to be.
No. Once I take it out and lay it on the bench, I'll go and put a kettle on and my wife cleans them. She'll knock on the window when it's ready to be put in the box.
And I mean, then you've got the problem of transporting it, haven't you? I mean, can you curl that root up or is it very brittle and would snap?
No, you curl it, and I've got roughly 3 foot by 2 foot boxes that I bring them in, and you curl it up like a Catherine wheel.
Yeah.
Well, then even when you get it here, you've got to get it back out the box again without snapping it.
Yeah. Because if you break a few inches off, that's gone, isn't it? You can't glue it back on.
No, you can't. No, that's it. Once it's snapped, you can't add that back on.
So you broke the record with that one. Is it much bigger than what was the existing record, do you know?
I think the existing record was roughly either 7.4 or 7.5.
So it's a fair bit bigger so hopefully you'll keep that for a few years.
No, I want to break it next year.
Oh, break your own record, exactly, yes. And you've always been big in the cucumber world as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've grown some nice long cucumbers, but for some reason I just cannot grow a heavy.
No, but they are long. I mean, the one I've seen you with has got to be at least 1.2 metres, I would think.
Yeah, I think I'm only, 10, 15 mil off the world record.
Wow, it's amazing. Now, if we ever wander through, I mean, as we wander through the hall, we've got everything. We've got marrows, we've got tomatoes. I'm going to get some pictures off. Can we have a look at your carrot? Because you talked earlier about growing carrots, and when we grow carrots, normally we get this lovely, long, slender root, but your carrot doesn't look like that. Why is that?
Well, I think a lot of the strain is what we call flack. And I don't think it produces just a normal long carrot.
Oh, I see.
No. So
when you're growing that, is that again grown in a container or is that in the garden?
No, well, in a raised bed. I might grow 6 in one of the raised beds, but I will start them off in the greenhouse in a tube so I can transplant them once the frost and that's gone.
So if you're listening to this, obviously you don't know what it looks like. If you're watching it on YouTube, you'll see that this carrot is quite gnarled, isn't it? Multi-stemmed and the roots all twist round. So that is perfectly normal with that type of carrot.
This year has produced more gnarls than normal. Whether or not it's been the heat or what.
But that, from a judging point of view, that doesn't matter, does it? It's all about the weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is it's heavy.
As long as it's sound, no problem.
So when you're growing all these veg, I mean, we're standing also near the pumpkins, and I don't think you do a pumpkin, do you? But I mean, there's some big pumpkins here. You know, Cinderella could actually turn one of those into a carriage. I would imagine you have special feeds that are very secretive that you don't tell your competitors about. You don't have to tell me either.
No, not really. You've got to be dedicated. You know what I mean? It's no good saying, well, I'll disappear to Benidorm next week for a week, sold in, expect to come back and everything still be the same. It just won't be.
So that is the dedication, isn't it? You are, when you've sowed the seed and you're growing it, you're there every day to nurture it and cultivate it.
24/7, 365 days a year.
Your wife she's got a lot to put up with you.
Is that the right way around?
Well, I'm not saying. Well, I mean, it's fantastic. It really is, and it's such a hive of activity in here because you've got all these people in here. So, are you pleased with what you've done? And because you're a man of few words normally, Joe, but you must be really chuffed with what you've done.
Yeah, I've had a very, very good show.
Yeah.
I've got to try and better it next year. That's the trouble.
And planning starts now for next year.
Yeah, when I get back after the show, I'll be getting rid of everything in the garden. It'll be going to a friend of mine who's got some pigs, and they'll make sure meals of it. And then I start sowing onions in October.
Brilliant. Good. Well, congratulations. Lovely to catch up with you and see you again. We only ever see each other here now. And all the very best for next year. And let's see if there's more Joe Atherton world records.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Cheers.
Well, coming up shortly, we're going to have Martin's jobs for the week and obviously the recipe. But it's got to be said, 365 days of the year, he's putting his effort into his garden.
Yeah.
That's quite a commitment, isn't it? Obviously
It
it's paying
is.
off.
Does
But,
he not have a holiday?
well, it didn't seem to.
No. He is dedicated, truly dedicated, and he's not that far from where we live, Joe. So maybe next year, if I butter him up, we could go out with a video camera
that'd be
and do
good.
one of our pots and trowels videos from there. It would be good.
Because he's got sort of gutters from the shed and that he
I
grows
was trying to imagine
in.
these things because, that's a lot of drain pipe, isn't it? To have. I mean, how does that? I mean, how do you even? I can't work it out.
I would
I'd like to
imagine
see
it's
it.
attached to a building or something, or a
Right,
big
okay.
tall pole. Because I think then when they take it down, they wash the soil and the compost out. So because the longest radish, and I can't remember what the measurement was, but it was many meters long.
7.84 metres.
But the root at the end, and it's like the longest carrot and the longest parsnip. When you get to the end roots, we aren't talking a thick root that you can eat for your
just
dinner.
very
It's
much,
literally like a piece of cotton. It
Yeah.
just goes on and on and
that
on.
bit goes a long way.
A
doesn't it?
long
Yeah.
way, and that's why they've got to be so careful that they don't break that, because if they break a few centimetres off, it could be the difference between.
And has there got to be someone there from the Guinness World Records to check? Or
I
did we
think
just...
when it's done, they have official verifiers there, so it is all official.
the
yeah,
shows.
at the show. Now, whether they're from Guinness or not, but there are officials there. So yes,
So do you have to break a world record? You don't have to be at a show, though, do you? You could have that at home.
You'd have to have the people to check it.
yes,
Yeah.
you can't just
Yeah.
you can't just email in and
No,
say
no,
I've
no.
got the world's heaviest cabbage. It's 4 ton.
No, but they would come to your...
Yeah, whether they would do
God,
that, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I honestly don't know. But I mean, that's why they have these giant veg shows, and that's
Yeah.
where they all go. It is
Yeah.
a thriving community of people
Very
that grow giant
competitive,
veg.
isn't it? Very.
And what gets me is that some of them are really ugly veg, though.
Oh, so it's about the growers.
No, not the growers, the veg. I do. No, the vegetables. Some of them, they are really, really, it's like the
We might not
potato
go back from this.
we looked at was really knobbly and,
Okay.
not like one big solid one. It was all knobbly. And
If you're watching on YouTube, you
the-
can see some of them because we took some photos.
Exactly, the carrots, as Joe said, it's not a single root, it's all gnarled and twisted. And so, yes.
I'd love to watch because he was saying that when they transport the longest ones to the show, they sort of curl them up like a snail. I'd love to watch that. Can you imagine the language if it snaps?
I don't think Joe would ever swear.
Do you not?
No.
Does it? And also, maybe this is obvious, but would he have more than one going at the same time, or is he just?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, he'll have a lot. I would imagine, yes.
Multiple
Yeah.
drain pipes, all with kind of
Yes.
different contenders.
I would imagine so. Yeah, you can't risk it all on one, because if anything happened to that, and he made the point. The saving seed and that type of thing is important as well, because if you've got a giant cabbage and you've got others growing, you'll let that one flower get the seed off, because the chances are that they will also then produce giant ones. They do it with their onions and everything.
Well, I pulled my radish out the other day, and then I listened to the interview you'd done with him, and I just thought, I don't know why I bothered.
Yeah, but
I was really quite pleased with them as well.
And were they tasty?
Yes, they're very
That's
nice.
what you
the
agree.
main
I
thing.
know. I'm
Yeah.
only joking.
It's not all about size, sure.
Fabulous. I think we should get on to the recipe.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Well, there were several giant marrows, and they were really giant. They were huge, weren't they? Quite ugly looking as well, which I didn't steal one to bring it home.
I don't think we'd have had room in the car.
I don't think we would.
They were
no.
huge.
But we always grow some courgette plants, and nearing the end of the season, would you say sort of August, mid-August
yeah.
time, we stop picking on one of the plants so that I can get some
Probably a bit
marrows.
earlier.
Yeah, it would have been. And then I turn them into a jam. So it's a bit unusual. It's a really old-fashioned recipe. And this is one that my mum used to make for my dad because it was his favourite thing. Didn't have it on bread or toast as you would do an ordinary jam, but it's a really nice topping for ice cream. So it works really, really, really well. Or a baked apple, which is sort of ready at this time of the year. Quite easy to do. It's all about getting the right set, though. So you need to have a lovely soft set to this jam. So it needs a lot of dicing. So you have to peel your marrow, peel the skin off, get rid of any seeds and any of the fibrous bits, and then dice it up. So really quite small cubes. Pop those into a large bowl along with some sugar. Leave it overnight and a lot of the juices will be released. So it looks like it's in a sort of bath of a sugar syrup. Pop that into a jam pan, and then you want to get some lemons, maybe an orange as well, and take the zest off, squeeze the juice, put that in, put the juice into the pan, put the zest into a little muslin bag so you can just get some of those, seal it up so that it's not going to come out, and then get some root ginger as well. Chop that up, give it a little bash so it bruises it, starts to release the flavour. Put that into another little muslin bag, pop those into your jam pan, just dissolve the sugar and let that cook. So the marrow needs to cook and go nice and translucent and soft. Let that cook for about half an hour. Then you add in a bit more sugar and then you bring it up to a boil. So that's the jam making process then. You want to get a really soft set because this is a jam that really firms up when it's in the pot and it's cooling down. So do your test for set, frozen saucer, put a spoonful of the jam on it when you think it's really nearly ready, and then leave it for a minute and then run your finger through it. And if it wrinkles, then it's reached setting point. But you only want a very gentle wrinkle, not like you would with a normal
It sounds very
jam.
technical to me. I'm
Well,
following
a
it,
gentle
but-
wrinkle. A gentle wrinkle just means that it's barely sort of moving the
It's like a little
surface of the
ripple.
jam. A little ripple. Yes, I like that.
Okay.
Then all you've got to do is add in some diced up stem ginger. So that's the balls of stem ginger. Add that in for an extra ginger hit and then pot it up. You can eat it straight away and it's delicious. But as I said, it does thicken up when it cools down. So it gets quite almost like a toffee. Doesn't matter if it's a bit thick. You could just warm it up before you use it.
It is
So
delicious.
it's really nice. So it's got that real ginger hit with the lemon in there as well.
And
so
you get a lot out of a marrow, don't you?
you do, but it was quite big marrows. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't remember if it was last year or the year before you gave me a marrow and I made a marrow cake. That was-
Oh, right, yeah.
It was nice. A little
Yes,
dense.
I remember that.
Yes,
But
yes.
it was nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep
Good.
knocking the table.
And,
so
and can we
far.
put that
I will put the recipe onto the
on-
show notes,
onto
yeah.
the show notes.
Super. Brilliant. Right. So should we have the jobs for the
Some
week?
quick jobs then,
Yeah.
yes, just to finish us off. So on an edible theme then, there's a couple. Spring cabbages. So, lots of veggies come out the garden, finished for the year. We're now planning ahead for next year. So autumn is the ideal time to put your spring cabbage plants in. So if you haven't grown them from seed, it's too late this year, but you'll get them in nurseries and garden centres for the next several weeks. So young spring cabbage plants, put them in, firm them in, just leave them. They will make some root growth and they'll make a little bit of top growth and then they will just overwinter. And what we do then in early spring is give them a little feed with a high nitrogen feed to give them a boost. And by next April, you'll have these lovely pointed, lovely, so sweet is the spring cabbage. So that's something to look forward to. Still time to sow if you've got some lettuce seeds, any of the salad leaves. There's still time. We did some
Spinach?
again. Spinach you can get away with, especially if you've got a greenhouse. It doesn't need any heat, but just that little bit of protection, obviously, from the rain more than anything. Just sow them in trays again and they will germinate. The ones we did a few weeks ago are ready now to cut. So if you do some now, they'll keep you going well into winter, just when you fancy a little bit of salad on some dishes. Bulbs, we talked about bulbs, planting bulbs and whether they need watering. It's still time to get your bulbs in. So whether it's your daffodils you want to get, your crocuses, hyacinth bulbs, irises, snowdrops, all of those. October is a really, really busy planting time. Alliums are another one in there. I've mentioned this before, but I'm doing this more as a reminder to me as well, because I've still got a bag full of bulbs that I need to get in the garden. And the golden rule is that you plant 3 times their depth. That's the idea. So if the bulb is 2 inches from top to bottom, 5 centimetres, the hole needs to be 6 inches or 15 centimetres deep with the bulb on the bottom, and then backfill it in. If you plant them a little bit shallower, they will still grow, but there's more chance that they will be damaged when you're cultivating. And when they're deeper, they've got the moisture and they just do so much better. That's what they like. You don't have to do anything fancy with the bottom of the hole. Just space them in the hole, backfill it. I've seen people sort of saying screw them in like a bulb. You don't have to do that. That doesn't make any difference at all. So get your bulbs in, and they ideally like a fairly well-drained soil. And space them out. If you're planting them in groups, don't plant them so they're touching. Leave them a few inches between them, because bulbs naturally multiply and bulk up anyway. So give them room to grow over the coming years.
Is it still too early to put tulips then?
Yeah, tulips is a little bit early. So if you've got tulips, hang on to those maybe for another month. I like to get well into November for those, because they need cooler soil. They will grow if you plant them now, but there is a chance if you've got the spores of tulip fire in your soil, it's warm and moist, that can infect the bulbs. So by waiting till the soil is naturally cooled down, then they don't suffer so much with it. So get your bulbs in. And then finally, think about autumn colour. We're starting to get some beautiful autumn colour now. Lots of trees and shrubs are changing. Lots of small evergreens as well are looking really good. So if you think your garden is lacking colour at this time of the year, go and have a look at one of the open gardens. I was at Harlow Car in North Yorkshire last week and it looked amazing. But go to a local park, get some ideas, pay a visit to your garden centre and get a few plants that you can plant now that will look good for autumns for many, many years to come.
Good idea.
Fabulous. I'm afraid we sent Marley to sleep.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. So we're not going to be getting a positive comment from Marley.
No. But anyway, he's got to edit this podcast.
Yeah, he has. He's got a lot of work still to do. Exactly, yeah.
Sorry if it was you who applied for the intern job, but Marley got the job.
Yes,
for the
yes,
minute.
yeah,
The
much cheaper.
Interim, yeah.
Dog turn.
Yes,
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, great information this week, and it's fantastic hearing from Joe and all those gigantic veg stories.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Hopefully
yeah.
we'll get to see him on video soon.
We will, yes. Jolly good. And that's it. We're done. So
think
get
it
get
is.
get chopping your marrow,
Yeah.
get sowing your seeds and planting your bulbs. And
And get in touch if you want to, and we'll see you next time.
see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Watch the videos on YouTube or Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter or X, and subscribe to the podcast and never miss a thing. For more information, go to potsandtrowels.com.